Hello everyone! Welcome back to the fourth episode of my Create This Book series. Today I'll be working on 4 prompts, and as always, I'll link the playlist with all the existing episodes thus far in the description below. But without further ado, let's get started! The first prompt of the week is Create Folds. Fold this page in any way you want. So obviously I needed to cover up that huge bleed through of the previous page with the bouquet and the alcohol markers, so I decided to work on a separate sheet of paper to begin with. So my idea for this prompt was to turn the page into a birthday card for myself, since my birthday is just around the corner. I think it's in a week or two. I usually don't celebrate my birthday, or actually it just has been such a while since I did. But anyways, I just thought it would be fun to have this paper chain in the background and then a cake popping out of it in front, as in a way to hand the person that is opening the book the cake. And also a little bit of a fun fact about me. So when I was younger, I made these birthday cards or Christmas cards by hand, and they were these pop-up cards. So when you would open the card, something 3D would pop out at you, whether it was a Christmas gift or an Easter bunny, you name it, I did it all. So in reminiscence of that, I wanted to create this page where it popped out at you, kind of like my cards back in the day did. So I wanted the background to be very decorative with this, again, paper chain in the background and the fun confetti and stars, and I colored it in all of the colors that I love to work with so much. So we have pink for the garland, and then confetti in blue, pink, orange, and purple. And obviously the giant cake in the middle. I once again used my trusty gouache for the main portion of this, but I sketched it out with my Col-Erase pencils and then later on lined it with my polychromos, and I think it was a purple. I love lining things with purple, it's kind of my thing. It also added that softer texture, whereas if I had used a black fine liner, it would have all been very harsh, but I really wanted that cozy, soft vibe. And I don't know about y'all, but my favorite cake flavor is chocolate, and it's best to have everything chocolate. So guess what I did for that cake? If you guessed chocolate, we're absolutely correct. So we have chocolate cake, chocolate filling, chocolate ganache dripping down from the sides. If I could have made the candles chocolate, I would have, but I really wanted something colorful on top, so the candles are unfortunately not chocolate, but they're colorful, which is equally as good in my opinion. Speaking of candles, as you can see, I'll be turning 8 this year. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be turning 25, but 8 was just the number that just fitted on the cake. And as you can see, there are these 2 rectangles on the side of the cake. These will hold up the cake once I glue it in. So these are the things that make the cake pop out from the background. So I won't be gluing down the cake itself, but these flaps, and so they'll push the cake out of the page. You'll see in a bit, but just for explanation as to why the squares are attached to the cake. Then once I finished painting the cake, I lined the background and then I cut it out, and you might also see that little rectangle on the right side. That was for the instructions to show through once I cut everything out. So yeah, so here you can see the effect that I was talking about. So when you close the book, it kind of pops out at you, which I find really cool. But yeah, that concludes this page, and let's move on to the next one, shall we? So this next prompt says, create letters. Fill this page with letters. Use them for aesthetic value rather than writing words. So what I had planned for this page is to turn every letter of the alphabet into a corresponding food. I managed to turn almost all of them into fruits, but some of them I had to improvise and do something else with, and some of the fruits I didn't come up with myself. Some of them I legit had to Google, yo Google, what's Oh, sorry, I didn't want to activate anything. What's the fruit or what's a food that starts with the letter XYZ? Because I was so lost with some of the letters. But yeah, let's go through them together, shall we? Let me know how many of these you got right at the end. Or if you were like, huh, what is that? So A is an apple, of course. B are blueberries. C is chocolate. D is a dragon fruit. E is an eggplant. F is a fig. I know it looks a little bit weird, but it's a cut open fig. I just couldn't find anything else, or I'd rather like didn't want to take something like fish. G stands for grapefruit. H is honey. Little fun fact about H. I first wanted to make it into a hot dog, but then I was like, hold up, just take honey. Honey is so much easier. Moving on, we have I, which is ice cream. J is jelly. Well, I had planned it to be jelly, and then I showed it to my boyfriend, and he was like, "It looks like jam." I was like, "Oh no, I mean, yeah, fair, jam, jelly, whatever you want it to be." K is a kiwi. I'm doing all of this with gouache, by the way, and then later on I went in with colored pencils to add some more details. Then moving on with L, we have a lemon. M is a mushroom, and I now just realized that the mushroom is not edible. Like that specific type is not edible, but hey, it looks pretty. N is noodles. O is an orange, giving me flashbacks to last week's episode. P is a pineapple. Q is quinoa in the consistency when you like put it in water or milk overnight. R is a raspberry. S is a strawberry. Can you believe I initially wanted to turn it into sushi? Hello? Am I out of my mind? Apparently. T is a tomato. U is a ube. It's a purple sweet potato, basically. V is vanilla, so I put some vanilla beans. W is a waffles. X is a gigua. Gigua is basically just a yellow watermelon, but it exists. Y is a yam, so a normal sweet potato. And Z is a zucchini. I had loads of fun creating this. And I also didn't put a background because honestly, the letters were so time consuming already that I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna leave it like this. And I kind of also enjoy the way that it looks because it looks like a alphabet that you would put in like a preschool for like the students to learn the alphabet with. So that was pretty fun. The last prompt of this week is create a meal. Draw or write about your ideal meal. Don't forget about dessert. So for this one, I decided to draw basically a day of me eating if it didn't have any consequences. So I used my alcohol markers and then again went ahead with some colored pencils afterwards to add details and whatnot. So I also put them in the wrong order. So if you would go clockwise, my they would start with a snack, going to dessert, then dinner, then breakfast. But yeah, I probably if I didn't mention it, you probably wouldn't even have noticed it, but it's the wrong order. I can't change it now. But starting off, we have breakfast, which is bananas, strawberries, and oats with yogurt. It's just an easy, simple to do breakfast, even though at the moment I really enjoy pancakes for breakfast. Then we have dinner, which is pizza. I might be a little bit controversial here because I really love tuna pizza and I know it grosses a lot of people out, but to me it's very normal and I love it. But for simplicity, I just chose to draw pepperoni pizza for this one, just so it would be a good and easy representation because tuna pizza is a bit hard to draw and I don't think it would be very recognizable the way that I draw it. So yeah. My dessert would be waffles, ideally waffles with cream and cherries, but I was honestly too lazy to draw cream and cherries, so it's just normal waffles. And then as my little snack for in between, we have a juicy watermelon. Just give me like a crisp, crunchy watermelon in the summer. That's all I'm asking. But yeah, here you can see me add those little details for with the colored pencils, and I went kind of like systematically. So I first added the red tones, then I went to the yellow tones, brown, and then eventually green. After debating with myself for like 20 minutes, I decided to color the background with acrylic markers. I debated for so long because I know the pain that it is to color a background with acrylic markers, because it can be very streaky because it's a large area. But I went for it regardless. It went 2 out of 10. I mean, it didn't went horrible, but yeah, it is what it is. Let me just say that, because I also didn't want to bust out the gouache. I didn't, I had everything on hand, so I was like, okay, why not just use it? I also didn't have the colors that I would have wanted, so I had to mix some. It wasn't ideal, but it looks quite cool in the end. And then after that, I just lined everything with my Micron and cut it out and glued it in. And you'll see later, I glued it in a way that I could still see the prompt. So I only glued the bottom part of the right page so I could still flap it open. But yeah, it's a pretty cool page in my opinion. It came out really great. Moving on though to the very, very last page of this week's episode. Create simplistic drawings. Fill this page with stick figure drawings. So for this page, I am going to draw a little meme. For explanation, as an artist, you get quite a few comments about your drawings, whether they are good or bad, but I personally, especially back in the day, got a lot of the same comment which said, "Oh my god, you're such an amazing artist, I can't even draw stick figures." And I never knew how to respond to that, because I'm like, okay, bad for you, I guess. Like, what do you want me to say? And then years later, it's years ago at this point, but years later, this meme popped up with this seagull that like threw its head back and then launched it forward, and it had that exact sentence like, "Oh my god, you're such an amazing artist, I can't even draw stick figures!" In the second picture. And the second picture is kind of like the same as the first, but it's like all red. You'll see in just a few seconds when I color it. But it's like that, it's kind of like that angry response. It's like, what do you want from me? Like, I can't help you with your stick figures, man. It's really not that difficult. Um but yeah, I use my acrylic markers for this one. It looks a little bit bloody right now, but it's just the whole tone of the drawing. It's gonna get better in just a second, just you wait. Um, so yeah, I used my acrylic marker so it went really easy and fast. And I also, this episode was just me using alcohol markers, going in with colored pencils, lining it, cutting it out, gluing it in. Like it's that same pattern over and over again, but it worked. I also went in with an acrylic marker to make the eye really have that starburst appearance. And yeah, it came out really great, but then I had to figure something out for the right page. So I pasted it on the page with a prompt on it. So I decided, as a response for those people, like what can you respond? And I think people just meant like, "Oh wow, you're so talented, you can draw so well." But the thing is, everyone would be able to draw well if they just practiced it. Like, I wasn't born with my ability to draw, and I wanted to prove that by using my left hand. So I am right-handed, so this was a challenge for me, and it didn't turn out super great, but I basically drew this sheet of paper and like those pieces of tape that hold it down, and then I just went ham with my left hand, drew this like sun in the corner where it should be, a tree, some clouds, some flowers, grass, and then the none other than the stick figure to show it's really not that hard. And with a little practice, just look at me holding that pencil. Holy moly. Yeah, I'm definitely right-handed, but it was a really fun page and it has a really cute meaning in my opinion. So, yeah, even if you're not that great of an artist right now or don't think you are, just keep on practicing. It's gonna turn out in the end. But yeah, that brings me to the flip through of this week's video. Alrighty, here we go. So the first page we did was the folds page where we created folds. Again, the cake folds out or pops out like that. I would give this page an 8 out of 10 because it was really fun to make and it looks really bright and it came out just the way that I wanted it to. Moving on, the second page we did was create letters, where we created letters and the alphabet out of food. I really enjoyed making this page as well, so I would also rank it around 7 or 8. I wish I could have come up with fruit for everything, but I enjoyed it regardless. The third page we did is the meal page, where I created my ideal meal for a day if it didn't have any consequences. This page gets a 9 out of 10 because I love how it came out. I do wish that the background was a little bit more solid, but other than that, again, I'm really happy with this one. So yeah. The last page that we've done for the day is the stick figure page, where we created stick figures. Well, we created one with my left hand, and I really enjoyed making this one, and I love how quick it went. So this gets a 9 out of 10 for sure. I guess what I could have improved on, quote unquote, is the font, but that's really, you know, just me picking out something if I had to really critique it. So, yeah, I'm really happy with this entire episode, I must say. But yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you if you stayed till the end. I hope you have a lovely day, and we'll see each other in the next one. Goodbye!